what are your plans for the off season and possibly playing or just doing individual workouts?
Yeah, I mean, probably take a little bit of a break here, just for maybe a week. I don't really want to lose a ton of the stuff I've worked on, and just trying to get my body back to full health. There's some USA basketball stuff.
They thought they could simply erase her from the narrative, but they underestimated the storm they were about to unleash. The decision to leave Caitlin Clark off the Team USA roster for the Summer Games was already the most controversial move in the history of women's basketball, but new information has surfaced that suggests the disrespect went far deeper than a simple rejection. We are talking about a level of pettiness that is almost hard to believe. Leaks from inside the selection process suggest that before the final door was slammed in her face, there was an offer on the table, one so insulting that it was practically designed to be rejected. Rumors are swirling that league officials considered offering Clark a spot as a glorified alternate, but with a catch that hit right at the core of her identity. They allegedly planned to strip her of her iconic number 22 and hand her jersey number 12. In the world of elite basketball, jersey numbers aren't just digits, they are status symbols. Number 12 is widely recognized in hoops culture as the benchwarmer special, the jersey you toss to the last player on the roster just to fill a seat. It was an offer so laced with disrespect that it allegedly triggered a massive revolt behind the scenes, with players like Sophie Cunningham, an athlete known for her fire and grit, reportedly stepping up and refusing to play along with the league's messy politics. This wasn't just a roster decision, it was a declaration of war against the new era. To understand why this jersey number rumor is such a bombshell, you have to understand the brand Caitlin Clark has built. She isn't just a player, she is an economy. The number 22 is synonymous with her name. It's on the backs of thousands of fans, it's in the record books, and it represents the changing of the guard in women's sports. For the Team USA selection committee to allegedly suggest she wear number 12 was a calculated move to diminish her brand. It was a way of saying you are not the star here. You are lucky to even be in the room. This aligns perfectly with the gatekeeping narrative we have seen all season long. The established veterans, the old guard, have been incredibly resistant to handing over the keys to the kingdom. If Clark had accepted a spot wearing number 12, she would have been visually submitting to the hierarchy, accepting her role as a backup to players like Diana Taurasi and Breanna Stewart. It would have been a visual representation of the reality check Taurasi promised her before the season started. But what the committee didn't expect was that other players in the league, players who have ground their way up from the bottom, would see this for exactly what it was: bullying masked as protocol. The shockwaves of this decision were immediate, but the entrance of Sophie Cunningham into this narrative changes everything. Cunningham is a Phoenix Mercury standout, a player who has never backed down from a fight, and has often played the role of the villain in the eyes of opposing fans. She is tough, she is vocal, and she knows the game inside and out. For her to allegedly take a stand against the treatment of Clark signals a massive shift in the locker room dynamic. The media loves to paint a picture of Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA, assuming that every veteran player hates the rookie. But Cunningham's reported frustration with the politics proves that there is a faction of players who are sick of the gatekeeping. They see the writing on the wall. They know that Clark is the tide that lifts all boats. By treating the league's biggest asset with such blatant disrespect, offering her a scrub number and an alternate spot, the powers that be are jeopardizing the growth of the entire sport. If the rumors are true and players are quietly protesting or refusing to engage with the national team's promotional narratives because of this, it means the league has lost the locker room. But to truly grasp the gravity of this insult, we have to look at the timeline of the snub. When the roster was announced, the excuses given by the committee were flimsy at best. They talked about experience, seniority, and defensive chemistry. They claimed they needed players who had been through the fires of international competition. Yet, when you look at the stats, when you look at the sheer offensive production Clark brings, those excuses crumble. The decision was personal. It was political. And the jersey number 12 rumor is the smoking gun that proves it. It suggests that they were willing to include her, but only if they could humble her first. They wanted her production without her shine. They wanted to use her name to sell tickets, but force her to sit on the bench wearing a number that signifies irrelevance. It is a classic hazing tactic, the kind of thing you expect in a high school cafeteria, not at the highest level of professional sports. And this is exactly why the backlash has been so severe. The fans aren't stupid. They can see the difference between a basketball decision and an ego decision. The irony here is thick enough to cut with a knife. For years, WNBA players have fought for respect. They have fought for better pay, for chartered flights, for media coverage. They have begged the world to pay attention. And finally, a player arrives who commands the attention of the entire globe. She sells out arenas. She breaks viewership records. She moves merchandise at a rate the league has never seen. And what does the establishment do? They try to bury her. They try to put her in jersey number 12 and hide her at the end of the bench. It is a level of self-sabotage that has sports economists and marketing experts pulling their hair out. The exclusion of Clark from the Olympics is estimated to have cost the league and the networks millions of dollars in potential revenue. And for what? To protect the feelings of a few veterans who are afraid of losing their spot in the real limelight? The inclusion of Sophie Cunningham in the resistance against this decision highlights that not everyone is willing to sink the ship just to spite the captain. Let's dig deeper into the old guard mentality that fueled this fire. Diana Taurasi, a legend of the game, has been the face of this resistance. Her comments about reality is coming were seen by many as a warning shot, a declaration that the veterans were not going to make it easy for the rookie, and they haven't. From hard fouls to media shade, the welcome wagon has been non-existent. The Olympic roster was supposed to be the ultimate meritocracy, the place where the best of the best gather to represent the nation. But by prioritizing seniority over current impact, the committee turned Team USA into a country club. They chose comfort over chaos. They knew that if Clark was on the team, the media circus would follow. Every practice, every game, every press conference would be about her. And the veterans, who have carried the league for a decade in relative obscurity, clearly didn't want to share that stage. The jersey number insult was likely a test. Will she submit? Will she take the scraps we offer her? When the answer was silence, they cut her loose entirely. But silence is a powerful weapon, and Caitlin Clark has used it masterfully. While the internet burns with rage on her behalf, while pundits debate the fairness of the roster, and while rumors swirl about Sophie Cunningham refusing to play along, Clark has said almost nothing. She hasn't complained. She hasn't lashed out. She has simply gone back to work. She is breaking assist records, putting up triple-doubles, and proving every single night that she is one of the best players in the world, rookie or not. This silence drives her critics crazy. They want her to crack. They want her to act entitled, so they can justify their treatment of her. But by taking the high road, she highlights just how petty the league's actions are. If she had complained about being offered jersey number 12, they would have called her a diva. By ignoring it and focusing on basketball, she exposes them as the bullies. The role of Sophie Cunningham in this saga cannot be overstated. We often view sports through the lens of individual rivalries, but the real story is often about alliances. Cunningham represents the grinder mentality of the WNBA. She isn't a media darling. She fights for every inch of respect she gets. If the reports are true, and she is disgusted by the way Clark was treated, it validates the feelings of millions of fans who feel the same way. It shows that this isn't just crazy fan theories. It shows that inside the league, there is a recognition that things have gone too far. The refusal to play narrative might not mean she is literally sitting out games, but it suggests a spiritual boycott of the hazing culture. It is a refusal to be complicit.